managed to catch it. We will be in between rounds, be able to put the deck lists up for you. I promise you it is a spicy one. Creativity, kind of seen this a lot before though, right?
Yeah, and this Boros deck, it really takes advantage of the fact that we don't have open deck lists. So
Oh, yeah.
it is playing a lot of unexpected cards, and cards like Mana Type you're not used to seeing all the time. Plus, it has a Blood Moon in the main deck. There are cards like Timeless Dragon, but we also have if the game goes long, we have this Fury plus Solitude in combination with Ephemerate action. So it has a little bit of early game with Ragavan, but there's also some mid game. Fable of the Mirror Breaker, and also a lot of late game. So it is a deck that, if you're on the other side and you haven't really played against it, how do you sideboard?
Yeah, exactly.
Plus, they have this Teferi out of the sideboard, so there's an extra color, in game 2. So yeah, not an easy deck to play against.
So people asking in the chat, this is going to be we got one more round after this. 15 rounds of Swiss before we cut to top 8. If you missed any of this action, the VOD will be going live later on this evening, and it will also be going on the Legacy YouTube, so make sure you go give that a follow if you haven't. You can catch all the past events on there. Chat was saying that they almost closed the stream when you said it was a Murktide mirror.
Yeah. We do have good news for you if you like other decks than Murktide. When I was looking at the standings, I think that the best, the highest placed Murktide player at the moment is X3, and with 2 rounds to go, you're going to need really good tiebreakers to sneak into the top 8 with X3. So there might not even be a Murktide player in the top 8.
Okay, we're going to see this Ragavan come down on turn 1, and it gets to connect, hitting a Renin 6 off the top. That's one we can cast because we will have a treasure token if we want to go that way.
Being on the play is absolutely huge. Having that Ragavan, without the answer, without Renin 6 coming into play already and eating it. Extra treasure, extra mana. You can cast Fable of the Mirror Breaker. Maybe you want to keep up mana for Mana Tide, but that is huge in this matchup for sure.
Chat, how many Mana Tides are we going to get seen cast this game? We managed, I think it was 8 in the last match, last time we saw Nicolas on camera. How many are we going to see this time? I'm going to go with 4.
Over the match? I'm going to go with 5. I'm going to go with 5.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Looks like we're going to have Renin 6 is going to be cast off that treasure token plus the Den of the Bugbear here.
All right, Chad, help me out here. Is there a Ragavan with the old border? Because I think there was one like a buy a box promo-ish something, but I think it was only a foil one.
There's I know which one you're thinking of, the expedition one that it was all done in like the old the expeditions from when we went to Chandra's homeworld. Like the Eighth of Revolt sort of style. That one's done, and there's a new one about to be done in the next set coming out as like a special listed card, I believe. But chat will tell us. Chat knows everything. It looks like that Renin 6 at a Spell Pierce, and we're just going to play the land. A lot of foils, a lot of expeditions, as we say here. This could be a fully foil creativity deck. A lot of players turn up this weekend with fully foil decks.
Yeah, that's really cool. That's really awesome to see. And, secret lair cards, special art, everybody has their thing. Not everything is for everyone. I like my unhinged basic land. Somebody likes beta. It's really cool that there is so many different things to choose from now.
I like Ben makes stuff. Secret lairs. They're like these new digital neon-y type basics. Chat, let us know what sort of basics do you use in your favorite decks. That could be EDH decks all the way up to your modern decks. Let us know. I want to see who's playing alphas, who's playing basics.
Yeah, then you have Canister, who's playing a mix of white bordered, black bordered cards. Every card has to be a different art, and just as confusing as possible.
Ice Age lands, unhinged. Oh, unhinged. I do love it, unhinged. Guru lands. Someone's baller in chat. Look.
This Ragavan doing work. That's another treasure token.
We can get another spell we can cast if we choose to. Creativity not known for its super explosive fast starts. Normally turn 4 is where we start turning and burning. We do have access to things like lightning bolts, spell pierces, if we could choose to go that route, but we have not drawn them.
Yeah, the thing with creativity is you don't even really need to play anything in the first 3 turns or anything proactive. You can just play a couple of defensive spells, spell pierce here and there, maybe a counter spell, and then on turn 4 you can play the Dwarven Mine, make a free token that way, and cast creativity. To get Archon out of your deck.
Okay, so we see Seasoned Pyromancer cast. Talk me through this one.
3 mana 2/2. Ideally, you want to play it as the last card in your hand to play it. Draw 2 cards right away. But maybe if you're looking for specific cards, in this case, recognizing you're playing against creativity, maybe you're looking for the Manatite. So just using it as, discard to draw to, still good enough there. Maybe make an extra token or two and put on some pressure on the opponent.
Okay, and here's the card we've seen multiple times this weekend, picking up so many results in so many different decks. Fable the Mirror Breaker. What doesn't this card do?
Doesn't matter the format. Right now, the story is that whatever deck it is, if you put Fable of the Mirror Breaker in it, your deck is likely going to get better.
Just being able to, like, it makes itself a token. Well, the token makes tokens exactly what the creativity deck wants to happen, so we can start targeting with our creativities. Or potentially just ramping out if we need to. See a Dwarven Mine in hand, see a Archon. Oops, daisy.
I think I see a Prismatic Ending in hand for Nicolas, which can definitely be used in response to creativity.
No, the sorcery speed, right? So we're going to do this to get rid of the token here.
Oh no, that's Prismatic. No, not a I'm thinking of Leyline Binding.
Ah, yeah.
Not a card in this deck.
Not in this one. It was not going to be too good in this one. We're going to go with the Prismatic, but we do have access to, as we spoke about earlier, no one has no idea what they're playing against this deck, right? We know, because we saw it last round, there's Teferis in the sideboard.
Yeah, we know, but being on the other side is like, dude, what is going on? Like, Menatite, Ragavan, but you also have these late game cards, Teferi coming out of the sideboard. And I think Nicolas is doing a great job not showing the blue mana in the first game, so that Teferi really takes you by surprise.
And we're gonna hard cast on we're hard casting on a Bosch. This deck just we're pinning in our hand. I thought it was already in the hand.
This is the turn. This is the turn where the Fable token is gone. We're gonna be able to play our fourth land, maybe the Dwarven Mine to get the token and cast creativity, but that would go right into the Manatide.
This beautiful lightning bolt I've seen drawn. Doesn't look like it's fully foiled. A lot of money being spent on this deck. I appreciate that. Do you own any fully foiled decks?
Me, I just like the original English non-foil version of cards. Also, foils sometimes hard to find, hard to get.
Here comes a can't remember the name of the fetch. The red-black one.
Red-black, that'd be Bloodstained Admirer.
Thank you. Having a brain fart there.
That is a long name on the card.
It
Probably,
might not be in English.
Yeah, probably not English version.
But we could use that to go get a Dwarven Mine here, get a token if we want to go creativity, but it doesn't look like we're going to choose to do that. And we are only at 6 life.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that. Like, all these shock lands and fetch lands, we're already on 6 with 5 points coming in. And, you're playing against a red deck. Chances are there are going to be some lightning bolts.
But we've got Den and the Bugbear as well.
There's also Denny, yeah. Plus the 2 treasures, so.
See how we want to go about this. Still hiding the fact that there's blue mana in the deck.
One of Fury in hand, maybe double Fury. I do think there is a lightning bolt. I think it's one of those like special D&D art or
done in the old so it looks like it's from the handbook on Dungeons & Dragons, but we're just going to go with the Obosh here. Obosh, let's see if we can get that one up on the screen for you all. One we kind of see normally, as one of the played companions currently, but we don't get to see it in play too often. Here it is. So if a source with odd converted mana cost would deal damage to a permanent or player, it's dealt that damage to the permanent or player instead. Double. That's crazy. So lightning bolts are now going to be doing 6 damage. And obviously we built our deck in a way that everything in the deck does have an odd casting cost besides this token. Looks like we're going to get Leyland's Binding is going to come down targeting the Obosh. No lightning bolt in response. Well, there is, just not from the Nicolas side, but he's now going to show it.
Yeah, so things happen kind of really quickly, but there was a lightning bolt pointed at the Ragavan, which still leaves the 1/1 token and the Seasoned Pyromancer coming through. And with Fabian being at 5 life, Nicolas just reveals the lightning bolt and says, "Yeah, that's game."
So obviously he decided not to do that while Obosh is still on the battlefield, playing around something like a Spell Pierce, which we've seen quite common in these lists at the minute. Here's it up on your deck right now. 4 copies of Spell Pierce in the main. And we've seen a couple of different builds, right?
I think we've seen that in multiple versions this week. I think we have seen 4 spell pierce earlier in one of our feature matches as well.
This was slightly different. We've got a persists in this build. So we can, if we manage to discard the Archons in our hand, we can bring them back.
Yeah.
What do you like in the sideboard here?
Yeah, that's the thing. We talked about that last time. Fabian's probably thinking, okay, what am I playing against? Boros aggro? I did see a Lightning Bolt. I saw a Ragavan, but I also saw Seasoned Pyromancer. And I don't know if Fable was cast in that game, but those are usually kind of like mid-range cards. So you're thinking, okay, I guess you're kind of Boros mid-range. You might expect Blood Moon because what are the upsides of playing Boros?
Yep.
Maybe you're playing some kind of Reanimator package in there where you discard your big creature into Fable. Maybe you have Bitter Reunion, something like Invoke, the White Invoke that gets a card from the graveyard. So I wouldn't really know what I'm playing against. I would be thinking, well, I guess I need something cheap to stop Ragavans. So I'm gonna keep my Lightning Bolts in, but I also want to have cards for the mid game. So I'm probably not gonna sideboard too much. Thoughtseize sounds like it could be a card that I want to bring in because, well, I want to see what's going on. And other than that, yeah, I don't know. Am I bringing in a Flusterstorm? Like we know it would be probably.
It is a guessing game, isn't it? One thing I like in this, I want to just touch on quickly, is Strike It Rich. We've seen multiple different ways in these creativity decks trying to use different ways to get round Blood Moons. Blood Moon's obviously a very good card against them. We saw last, I think Ben Jones is playing Abundant Growths.
Yeah.
We've seen now in this one, it's going to be Strike It Rich. So using these different options to try and fight their way through Blood Moons is pretty cool.
Yeah, keeping in mind that your opponent is potentially on Blood Moon is definitely something.
And here it is. Here was the Boros deck we've been talking about. We saw it win last time that we were on in the feature match. Here it is again. That is right. That is a timeless dragon in the top left hand of your screen. And yes, that is a Teferi Time Traveler in the sideboard. Not that you've had many reps of this deck, but I'm going to ask you, what was your sideboard in this matchup?
Yeah, so this deck is not going to be great against combo. You're good against creatures. You have all these, you have Lightning Bolts, you have Fury, you have Solitude. So you're pretty good at dealing with creatures, but you're not great at fighting combo. So you're going to need either Blood Moon or some other way to stop your opponent from doing their thing. I think in this case, bringing in the Stone Brain to, choose creativity or Archon, look through my opponent's deck, and obviously hand, take all the creativities and make sure they can't really combo me that easily. Sounds pretty good to me. And especially if you're on the other side, you see your opponent reveal Obosh as a companion for game 1 and then not doing that for game 2, you're probably thinking, okay, what 2-mana card, what 4-mana card did you bring in? It could also be engineered explosives, that would deal with the tokens. So certainly something to keep in mind.
Yeah, a little bit of information can be gained there from doing it. Looks like we might be taking a mulligan here, or we're just finishing up the sideboard. Looking at this deck, we reckon X and 3 might not be able to make top 8 now. Something crazy would have to happen for that to happen. We reckon maybe an X2 is the lock.
Yeah, it kind of depends on if somebody runs the tables that like opens up more spots. It depends on tiebreakers. I think someone with X3 is probably gonna sneak in, but not everyone. X2-1 might be the necessary record. So
we did have a large amount of players turn up this weekend.
That's the thing. Yeah, I think in the past at the smaller events, X and 3, sometimes good enough to get into the top 8. Here with over 1,000 players, maybe we're looking at X2-1 as a necessary record.
Well, next round we'll find out. Next round will be the last one, round 15, before we find out who is in that top 8. So obviously you have Philippa and Skier will bring you that one, and then after they go off, we will come back with the top 8 announcement live. So you will all be able to see that as well at the same time that everyone in the room finds out. So make sure you stick around for that. Then we get to go into the top 8 and see who's going to walk away with this trophy sat in front of me and Mr. Martin User. Opening hands. Do we have keeps?
So while Fabian unlikely to know what Nicolas is playing. You know, he did see a few cards, but you know, not all the deck list. On the other side, Nicolas probably is going to be able to piece out together that he's playing against Creativity. Although, what did we see from that? We saw Spell Pierce, Lightning Bolt.
We saw Archon, like, because we flipped it with
Oh,
the
there was an
moving,
Archon.
so
Okay,
it's
yeah.
pretty
Then,
obvious that we know that.
at that point, it's obvious. So you
But-
know you know you're against Creativity. That means you're also going to bring in that Orvar from the sideboard.
Do you know what Fabian didn't see game 1? Mana Tide.
A Manatide and Blue Mana, yeah.
Let's see if we can get caught out by that. We're still on a count of 0. All Magics we play, though, everything to play for both these players, still live for top 8. We're going to take a mulligan over on Nicholas's side. This is a closed decklist tournament until we get to the top 8. Unlike with the last one we saw in the finals when we were in Naples, that is an open decklist. When we do these ones, these are closed decklists till we get to the top 8. All the decks will get posted on the Twitter, so make sure you go give Legacy a follow on Twitter if you do use that as a social platform. They also have Facebook and YouTube, etc. So a lot of different places the top 8 will get posted, I'm sure. We started off yesterday with 9 rounds of Modern action, followed by another 6 today before we do cut to the top 8. That will be you'll be able to catch them on the VODs on Twitch, or if you prefer YouTube, they will be going on YouTube shortly, probably by the end of the weekend. Same with all the other past events. So if you've missed any events and you're kind of into Modern, Pioneer, Standard, all of them are on the YouTube. Lots of Magic content for you to absorb in the universe currently.
Yeah, there's also there's also a lot of tournaments to play this week. Even if you you know aren't able to be in Prague, there is an Arena Open going on. There is the play-in stage of the Arena Championship qualifiers. On the other side of the world, I believe there is a regional championship in South America. Tournaments on Magic Online. You mentioned that Canister
Yeah.
basically conceded the last round yesterday when he was already at 7-1 because he wanted to play in the Vintage Challenge on Magic Online. So plenty of Magic to be played this weekend.
Chat asking, so yes, it is closed deck list, and yes, we do show the deck lists on the screen. Feature matches can be turned down. We do not make anyone go to the feature match area. We offer them the invitation. Would you like to play your game in the feature match area? If they do that, they are fully aware that their deck list will be shown in between rounds during sideboarding matches. Just to clear up any confusion there. We don't force anyone. Don't try and give any unfair advantage. Have you ever turned down a feature match?
I don't think so, no.
I imagine you've had more than your fair share of feature matches in your time.
Maybe, like, I can only, like, imagine doing that. Like, I've had a bad day, and I just kind of want to be alone, you know?
I got you.
Play my match in peace and, you know, walk it off.
Okay, we are starting off with a Triome on the other side. Which Triome is that for you, chat? Let's see. Let's get some trivia going. Who knows which one that one is? And we're just going to pass the turn back with basic mountain on the other side. Probably one from the draft box by the looks of it.
It does look like the basic land station kind of land, but I do think it's Japanese. Like, these lands are Japanese, I think, so they look pretty cool to me.
Oh, yeah, I do see that. Okay, a little bit of hidden swag there, I like that, to the untrained eye. Second Triome comes in.
Nothing really beats for me the on lands, you know, unhinged, unglued.
Oh, yeah, they're all beautiful.
All that, like, those are the best basic lands.
Let's be honest, it's the only reason we buy that set. You know what I mean? We open it, it's fun to draft, but after you want something to keep and use in your deck, the basic lands are so beautiful in that. As so are these expeditions that we're seeing here.
Yeah.
That's going to be a Sacred Foundry coming in untapped, leaving up 3 mana.
Yeah, look at that. The first game, pretty aggressive. Ragavan just kind of running away with the game. Now we have both players just land go, land go, land go. What do you have?
Looks like a lot of Solitudes in hand for Nicholas. Remember, he is on a mulligan here. Fetch out these basics. Maybe there's some sort of Blood Moon action about to happen. Let's have a little look. So Blood Moon does come down. White bordered as well. In response, we're going to get a Prismari command. I imagine Treasure Token might be the one mode of this.
Yeah, which means that sure you are only limited to red sources
Oh,
plus the treasure token, but you still do have the option of just playing another land and playing creativity for one.
how about drawing your wear and tear
Wear and tear.
off
Yeah,
that?
that
It's
sounds
a pretty good
reasonable.
one.
I don't know if Fabian has a fourth land.
Yep, we
Oh
brought it to
yeah,
the front
there's
yet.
one. Okay.
The expedition ones all look crazy, right? That is a wooded. No, that might be this steam vents. No, stomping grounds.
Okay.
Jeez, there you go. Stomping grounds.
Fable of the Mirror Breaker, another great way to kind of get out of the Blood Moon lock. So this creativity deck definitely is not, as vulnerable to Blood Moon as if you were playing Scape Shift or something like that.
And I like this, we were able to play our shock land, not take the 2 points of damage for it, but using almost the blood moon to our advantage here, because at any time we choose, we can just use our wear and tear and get it off the battlefield to kind of unlock and basically go into creativity. So if the shields do go down on Nicolas's side, potentially we can untap into a big explosive turn. Remember, Nicolas thinks this is his worst matchup as well. Let's have a little look how we want to go back. So we're passing the turn, we're looking at creativity. Oh no, he wants to look at the whole graveyard. We see 2 Archons in that graveyard. Obviously, we know that there's persists in the deck. It might not still be in there after sideboarding. That's another Prismari command. Then we've got Renin 6, Wear and Tear, Prismari command, and something else. And this is the downside of playing Blood Moon, right, against these Fable decks.
Yeah, it is. It is an excellent card against something like Scape Shift or Amulet Titan rather. But these decks with Fable of the Mirror Breaker, Blood Moon is definitely not as strong against.
There's a deck we don't see too much of anymore. Good old Scape Shift.
Fable just solves all these
It
problems.
does. Here comes Renin 6. Powerful 2 mana Planeswalker. It's going to return a land. We're going to put that straight into play. Now, there is a white card in hand that I can't quite make out what it is. It might be a Hallowed Moonlight. And remember, sideboarding super hard against this Boros deck. We're not entirely sure what is going on.
Okay.
We're going to get the boundary in the turn.
I was talking to Frank between the rounds, and I was describing, the game one we watched between Boros and I think it was Murktide, and I was just describing the cards that the Boros deck played. I'm like, okay, Frank, imagine you're the Murktide player. How would you sideboard? Like, what would you think is going on? And Frank was like, yeah, I think maybe some kind of reanimator deck. Like, I'm not really sure. So I guess I would maybe like preemptively bring in something like a relic. Maybe that's why the Hallowed Fountain's there, the Hallowed Moonlight.
So we're seeing a hard cast Fury here. Why are you targeting this? Are you going to try and take out the Renin 6, or are we taking the token out?
Depends on my hand. Okay, 2 and 2. This is kind of like the most reasonable option. Like the Renin 6 doesn't look particularly scary right now, at 2 counters, but it does let the opponent.
Leyline's Binding was that white card in hand. I didn't quite make out what it was. That is going to deal with the Fury. Just a nice cost of 1 white, because it is obviously reduced for each land type that you control. We do control all 5, so it costs 1. And then in the turn, we're going to get a Dwarven Mine and make yourself a little draw token.
Yeah, there was a Wear and Tear played under Blood Moon, but there was a treasure that was created with the Enoture and Prismari command earlier.
Can we use this as a draw token?
Yeah, this kind of makes you wonder, like, is Blood Moon even that effective against this, to the point where, should I even board it in?
Yeah, that's literally what I'm thinking. We've all come, we saw about, if you strike it rich, we now got the Wear and Tears.
Yeah, and like, especially now that your opponent knows for sure that you actually have it, so they're gonna presumably, do everything in their power in game 3 to not get hurt by Blood Moon too badly.
So we're going to cross with that Dwarf token. Tick up Brennan 6. Return a land, put it straight into play. Okay, big draw step. What do we find? Seasoned Pyromancer. We've seen how powerful that one can be in multiple different decks that it sees play in. But again, another 5 mana here. Fury or Solitude? Solitude. That's going to deal with the Fable by the looks of it. Exiling it, gaining a little bit of life. It must be good having your last name being winner when you play in competitive tournaments. Let's have a little look.
So Prismari command is being cast.
We're going to use the mode of draw 2, discard 2 by the looks of it. Deal 2 damage to the Solitude. Ditch 2 land, looks like Steam Vents and Basic Mountain.
So this game is completely different from what we've seen in game one.
Game 1.
Which again is going to make you think, you know, being the creativity player during sideboarding, what can I expect in game 3? Did my opponent, you know, is there a chance they're on a more aggressive game plan game 1? Do they board into more of a control-ish game plan for game 2? Do they have all of that in their deck, you know, together? What can I really expect for game 3? And that's a big part of it. This is why I love closed deck lists. Really makes you wonder, you know, how to sideboard, how to play against these decks that you have no experience against. And that's how, you know, how you get a lot of percentage points. And these days, it's really not easy to get any kind of edge. So, you know, this is...
And that's like a good thing about going to these big tournaments, you know, especially like going to the Pro Tours and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like the meta's kind of almost been solved by the time you get there. That's why I enjoy the Pro Tour, because I feel like at the highest level, the highest players putting in the hardest work to see if they can try and break this meta. And I always remember Pro Tour Born of the Gods when Blue Moon turned up. That was like one of my favorite, I think that's my favorite Pro Tour of all time. And that deck just being the standout deck of people just utilizing Blood Moon, using lots of basic islands. I think they had like Vidarian Shackles was in the deck at the time, you know, stealing time ago.
Yeah.
I like that Vapor Snags, just bouncing things back to the hand and locking them out with Blood Moon. I love that whole interaction and how that used to work.
So we have a hardcast Archon, I believe.
We've seen that a couple of times, you know, and that's what I guess we can do with these decks. You know, we doodle. If you're going to hold up counter magic, sure, I'm going to be able to just absolutely hardcast it, or maybe even reanimate it here. Things not looking good for Nicolas, though. I think he probably needs something like a Solitude into an Ephemerate to, you know, even stay in this game.
Nicolas did just reveal
the blue mana. Okay, here's the Solitude. That's going to take that Archon out, gaining a little bit of life, but at least it's off the battlefield.
I'm not sure if Nicolas even looked at his new card.
I think they're just sorting out the life totals here. So we're going to go fetch again. This Ren 6 doing a good job getting a fetch land back every turn, letting us, you know, almost thin our deck, get all our fetchables out. Our life total is not too taxed because we keep getting Solitude. Oh my word! What just did we just see? The last Mana Tide take down the Archon being hardcast there, and I think that's the fourth Archon. I think 2 have been discarded. That was the fourth one being cast, and the other one got Solitude. We might not have any left in our deck. You've got to love it. You've got to love it.
What's going on?
Mana Tide turning the tail of this game.
You're probably thinking, oh yeah, I'm gonna hardcast this Archon and win the game right here. What's the worst that can happen?
Chat's absolutely loving it. Okay, right. That's
wow, I love it. That is rough. Yeah, that's a soul crushing play right there.
Okay, we're gonna play one of the canopy lands. That is a dress down. Is that a dress down? I think that is a dress down. Is it dress downs in the list? Let me have a look. It'd be a weird one to have in your deck. But no, yeah, there's 2 dress downs in it.
Is this a 1/1?
Yeah.
Token, or?
This is the 1/1 dwarf.
Okay.
So we're gonna use the Season Pyromancer's second ability. Exile and make 2 1/1 elemental tokens. Maybe the words "I would like to go to blocks" are about to happen. What do you think? We just take this?
I was just gonna say, like, you know, every damage counts. You saw your opponent play cards like Prismari Command, Lightning Bolt. So I would like to make sure that I'm staying above the like 6 or 7, life kind of range.
Okay, and we did use a double block. I like the whole double block there, playing around potentially a removal spell if they happen to have it. But just passing the turn back. What have we got? Can't get a good look. Looks like we're going to go for a redraw here, though.
I would like for Nicolas to sort of like keep a count on like how many spells have you countered, or like what's the total amount of mana you have countered with your mana tides in this tournament.
2 mana. We're going to dash a Ragavan. That one might not connect. And we've also got Fable in hand. So, we can try and maybe bait something out here. So we're not going to give it, let it have its haste ability from the dash. We're going to turn off the lifelink. Draw a new card. I think that was Strike It Rich off the top, so it looks like they did come in. Go to combat. Are we going face or are we going to go to the Ren 6? Looks like we're going 3 to the Ren 6. 1 to face. I'm pretty sure that lifelink doesn't happen because of the dress down. There you go. Thank you, Judge, catching that. Okay, looks like the 1/1 went towards the Ren 6 and the Solitude went to face. Fable comes down. Token is made.
Thought it was kind of looked like the other way around, but I'm not sure what happened.
That's what I thought. It looked like the other way around, but Ren 6 only dropped down to 5.
Does the Ragavan actually go back into the hand?
Yes,
if
the way it
dress down-
stacks is the dress down will leave, and then the Ragavan will gain back its ability of being dashed, which means that it will go back to hand. And
Okay. So just
layering.
This is what I always just ask the judges. Like, hey, can I ask a
Yep.
question? This is complicated. I don't want to mess up. Can you please tell me what's going on?
I only know that because I've cast that and had that interaction done to me multiple
okay.
times. That's But we are like kind of almost empty-handed over on Bab's side here. There was a point in this game where there was multiple Archons were casted on the battlefield, Fables were going off, Ren 6s, and like it's so been back and forth and swinging. Like, this deck doesn't look like it should be doing what it's doing, but it is. This Mana Tide's almost changed the course of this game.
It's changed. It's changed many games over the weekend. Yeah.
So there's like a Lightning Bolt in hand, and
I think that's a Fable.
I think that was a Fable as well.
Which is definitely one of the better cards.
It's
draw here.
Okay, so that's the Fable. We've seen how powerful this card can be in both of these decks here. Kind of in a different way, but being able to get you out of a bad spot by letting you discard potentially extra lands in hand.
And that's exactly what Ren 6 is doing right now, providing you with extra cards. You may be thinking, okay, well, what is the upside of getting more lands? Fabian already has 9 or 10 in play. Yeah, I mean, extra cards in hand, they're good. You can discard them to Fable. You can discard them to Prismari Command, for example.
We didn't reveal an Obosh this game because there was an EE in hand.
Or possibly the Brainstone as well from the sideboard. Orvar is also, I believe, 4 mana, right?
The what, sorry?
Orvar. I think there is an Orvar in Nicolas' sideboard, I believe.
Let's have a little look, see.
Which would also...
yeah, that is 4 mana, yes, correct.
Yeah, that would also stop the Obosh. And obviously, Orvar is for these decks with Archon.
So we're going to discard the Engine Explosive and the Ragavan to draw 2 new ones. It looks like it was Prismatic Command plus a land. We don't currently have the 3rd mana, but we could get it off this treasure token now if we attack and we're allowed to make it. It's going to be interesting. What we're going to do here. We're going to Prismatic first. Okay, so we're going to Prismatic, try and get this Ren 6 off the battlefield. It resolves, gets exiled. I'd like to go to combat.
That's a Fable token, right? So
that's a Goblin Shaman token. We currently don't have that many in our pile at the minute, so we're gonna.
I think Nicolas is looking for a treasure. There was no mistrigger clearly indicated. Yeah, trying to get a treasure.
And now we've got this Fable trigger happening. We've got the possibility to discard up to 2 cards and draw that many. We are going to discard a Ren 6 and the extra land. 2 draws, one being Persist.
Ooh,
that's huge.
Yeah. So this might change sideboarding for game 3 as well, because now Nicolas knows that there is a persist.
Yep.
Maybe that Relic of Progenitus is going to come in.
And he's scooping it up. He knows what that card does. He knows that an Archon's going to come down and basically come back. But that Mana Tide turn was huge. And now we get to get a game at 3 between both of these decks. So now that we've seen them, let's see if we can get the sideboards up and see potentially how Fab might sideboard now he's seen a bit more of the deck.
This game was quite a roller coaster too.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I feel like like Nicolas was kind of dead in the water at one point.
Yeah.
And that literally that Mana Tide on that 4th cast Archon was going to change it. And realistically, only Persist was the only thing getting those cards back into the game. So here's the sideboard. Here's Fab's. Now he's seen more of the deck. Anything here standing out to you? Do you think he should be bringing anything in?
So you've seen Blood Moon. You've seen Fable.
Solitude,
you also saw
Furies.
blue. You also saw blue mana. So I would be considering that Flusterstorm for game 3. I think Thoughtseize, I'm definitely bringing that in just to see what's up. Wear and Tear is already in the deck, obviously for the Blood Moons.
Saw Dress Downs come in. Do you think you were keeping them in, or are we going to take them back out again?
I think it's a main deck card possibly.
I know it's we got 2 in the sideboard down the right, right?
Oh yeah. There's 2 in the sideboard. Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, I mean it's okay, but we also saw Dress Down from the Murktide player earlier, and it was kind of just sitting in his hand in his hand for a long time. So I'm not sure if this is the right card for the matchup.
Let's move across to Nicolas's deck. This is the one. This is the talk of the town at the minute, right? This card, Mana Tides in the main, Timeless Dragons in the main. Now that he's kind of saw how he sideboarded, the Obosh was not shown in game 2. It looks like I'm guessing the Orals definitely came in. Looks like the Engineered Explosives also came in. Do you think this is a Teferi Time Raveler match? Do you think it's good in this one? This is not the match for it. It's more for the Cascade decks.
Yeah, this is like against Murktide, really good. You bounce the Murktide, plus it stopped them from playing counter spells. Against Cascade, great at stopping them from doing their thing. Here, you don't sometimes even get to bounce the token from Dwarven Mine because they usually wait with it for turn 4. Fable of the Mirror Breaker, it might be a play or draw thing. If I'm on the play, I would rather be proactive, doing other things. If I'm on the draw, my opponent plays turn 3 Fable, I can respond with my turn 3 Teferi. So depending on who's on the play, who's on the draw, I might be thinking about bringing in Teferi. Also, first of all, I have to start by looking at my deck and thinking, okay, what are the worst cards? What do I not want? I have to board these 6 cards, 8 cards.
Yeah.
Well, I need to bring something else in. So depending on the strength of the power of the cards I'm boarding out, that's where bringing in or not Teferi comes in.
What do you think about the Stone Brain here?
Yeah, I think Stonebrain's fine.
You know what I mean?
It's gonna exile all the creativities or all the Archons. I think in the situation, if you know that they already have other ways to bring them back, like Persist. So.
And I'm about to say, going on to Persist, we saw that game 2 then. That's kind of what set up. We do have Relic of Progenitus in the sideboard. Do you think they are coming in? Or is that a little bit too niche? Like, if we get to that point, it's just, okay, cool, I accept I lost the game. Because there's a lot of sideboard cards that we potentially could be bringing in. And this is a point in Modern we should probably talk about, right, is over-sideboarding. People go, oh, okay, all these will come in, but then they start cutting the actual good cards or the game plan of their deck entirely. And we wonder, why didn't I win that game? Well, you boarded out most of your win cons or your combo or whatever.
I think that is what likely happened in that Murktide match, because there were 2 Dress Downs sitting in hand for a long time, but obviously this goes back to I'm playing against this Boros deck. I have no clue what's going on, so chances are I'm not going to sideboard 100% correctly because I have not played against this Boros Splash Blue kind of mid-range deck, before.
All right, well, let's go back down again and see how the players managed to sideboard, see who is going to take this down as we go into game number 3 to see which one of these players are going to advance to a 12-2 record and give themselves the best shot at making top 8. Mana Tide, again, being on the play could be a lot better.
Yep.
Could be a lot better.
So the count is 1 right now? 2? 3?
1, 2, 1.
The Archon?
Archon... And that's it. That was the first one.
It was just 1. Okay, so. But that was a big one, so that kind of counts as.
Oh yeah, that was huge. That was huge. That was and it was the 4th copy of Archon as well. If you're just tuning in, welcome. We do have 15 rounds of modern action. We had 9 of them yesterday. We have had, well, we've had 5 of them. We're about to have a 6th one after this round before we cut to the top 8. We'll be casting that live to you. So make sure you stick around to see out exactly when the players find out who's in the top 8, as well as you guys at home. Then they're going to be battling out in the top 8. They're all going to get themselves free flights and accommodation to Athens. And remember, Athens is where players will start qualifying for Pro Tour Barcelona, the Lord of the Rings Pro Tour. And here's to strike it, Rich.
Wow, Fabian even has the old school foil. I think it was a Judge promo lightning bolt. Like, those are not easy to find.
No, they're expensive. And we're going to go plains cycling. Not something you see in Modern too often. I'm going to get it up on the screen for you all here. If I can find it, Timeless Dragon. Let's get that there. Okay, I know this is a modern all-star and people at home definitely know what this does, but I'm going to go for it anyway. Timeless Dragon is a 3 and 2 white for a flying 5/5 dragon with Eternalize. That is 4 mana pair from the graveyard. You get a 4/4 zombie dragon. But realistically in this deck, we're using it more for its plains cycling in the early turn, so we can kind of hit our mana drops, get our plains if we need it, if we played a Blood Moon. And then later on in the game, we can bring it back as a 4/4 if we need to.
We have a question about Obosh in the chat.
Go for it.
You have to say at the start of the game, hey, this is my companion.
Mhm.
But I think if you board in a way where you cannot have Obosh as a companion anymore, I don't think you have to announce, like, hey, I made these changes. I don't have a companion. I think you just kind of present your deck and play, you know,
Yeah.
with no Obosh. I don't think you have to, like, verbally announce that or anything like that.
I'm also in the understanding that it's normally I'm presenting it. Here it is. Okay, this one.
I think those were 2 Emeria Skulls.
Yep, they
2
are.
Emeria Skulls being discarded to the Pyromancer.
Which is nice. You know, normally you've got to discard a non-creature spell to get a token here. And as they kind of pseudo our lands, we do get the 2/1/1 tokens from it. Start getting the beatdowns down. This is 4 damage coming across.
Strike it rich. Not only is that a treasure that you can use to, you know, kind of get around Blood Moon, but also get, you know, having a treasure in play means you have a target for creativity already. So
Kind of doing double duty there. I think that is a Leyline's Binding I see in hand at the front of the deck for Fab. And we are going to see it come down. Target is going to get the Season Pyro. I think we've got a second one in hand if we choose to go that route. But this is turn 4. This is the scary one, right? This is where we can start casting our creativity. Start getting Fable, Start getting, I forgot the name of it. What's the big one that we can get into the battlefield?
Archon.
Thank you. So many cards of Magic. My brain is getting mush after 14 rounds of modern action. But I remember this one. This one is definitely Fable the Mirror Breaker. It definitely makes 2/2 Shaman tokens. And we pass the turn back. That's an Engineered Explosives off the top. I see a lot of white card. I think I see Stonebrain. I think that's a Stonebrain in hand.
That could be big. But at the same time, we know that Fable of the Mirror Breaker is, you know, sometimes capable of winning the game on its own. If you have both of them, they both transform into quicker reflections. You can kind of, you know, do the copy this, copy that, kind of trick at the end of turn. Have a bunch of copies for all your lands and just kind of fireball the opponent out next turn.
Looks like we're going to go for an ending on the Fable here. We do have all 3 types because of that, due to that Hallowed Fountain. And we're going to cast Engine Explosives for 0. Yeah. There is a creativity in hand.
I think there is a Manatite in hand as well.
Is there?
I believe so.
Come on, let's go. Let's go. No, yeah, I think we're blowing this before combat. We don't want an extra treasure token to be made. It's going to also take away our 1/1 tokens, but, you know, not too much of a backbreaking effect for us. But now we're tapped out.
Oh, wow.
Now a dwarf token can be made, and now creativity can be cast. Yeah, this is gonna hurt. And we've got
Where's
oh,
Solitude?
Solitude ditching the Murtide. Okay. One card left in hand. Big draw step. Another Solitude.
That's another Solitude, yeah.
And I think it's Solitude Murtide again. Remember, we've got the Eternalize of the dragon in the graveyard if you want to go that route. Oh no, I think it's Brainstorm actually. Brainstone. Stone Brain.
Okay.
Stone Brain. We are going to bring it back. Get yourself a 4/4 black dragon token.
What happened to the Season Pyromancer? Oh, it got exiled with Binding. Oh, okay, because
Yeah.
I was thinking, I think there's also maybe a Pyromancer in the graveyard, so you have a lot of plays available. A lot of creatures to make in the upcoming turns, but yeah, that got exiled, so...
Yeah. Interesting, there's no ways to get enchantments off the battlefield over on Nicolas's side besides Teferi Bounce. And we're going to see Lightning Bolt plus Ren 6 deal with that 4/4 token. That's a land off the top. We're still not firing off the Stone Brain. I'm pretty sure that is what we've got in hand. I have been wrong before though, let's be honest. Here it is. I knew it was in hand. I can tell that art from anywhere. How does this resolve? See if I can get that one up on the screen for you. We see it show up a little bit in Pioneer. Not too much in Modern. Here it is for you. Talk us through this one.
The Stone Brain?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. You can search the deck, take creativities. You can name Archon, which I think is maybe more reasonable because then you don't really have to play around Persist.
Mm-hmm.
So
let's see what we are naming here.
I think it's likely one of them.
I think it's creativities by the looks of it.
Well,
but then the
okay.
downside to this is we've seen how creativity is hard cast. I think the reason for naming creativity here, right, is in case after sideboarding we don't just have the Archons in the deck. We could potentially,
Yeah, what if there's like
Yeah.
a Sarah Emissary, or what if you have a Troxa, something like that. So
yeah, we've got an Iona and an Emrakul in the sideboard, so potentially they could have come in. Obviously, we don't know that. It still is a closed decklist tournament until the top 8. But now they will know. Now they've had a good look at the deck. They know what there's in there. They know what they're playing around. They've seen the hand. Here's a Strike It Rich, which leaves next turn we can hard cast this Archon if needs be. We are just making sure that the Stone Brain gets exiled. It does exile itself.
yeah, so like this decklist thing, it goes both ways, right? You're playing a Boros deck. Your opponent has, is visibly confused. What is exactly in your deck? How am I supposed to sideboard? But at the same time, you're activating the Stone Brain. It could have been better maybe in this situation to name Archon, but you don't know. Is there an Atraxa? Is there some other creature? Maybe I'll go for the safe play. Name creativity.
So we do have the Solitude still in hand. So if we do hard cast it, trigger on the start, we can play the Solitude.
It's going to be interesting to see, like, if Fabian draws a land here, and I think that would make it enough to hardcast the Archon. Do you go for it? Knowing
There's tides on the other side.
knowing the opponent is on mana tides, plus you have Ren and 6 in play, kind of getting you more lands every turn. I think it's pretty reasonable to wait.
And yeah, we are playing around it. We're not gonna go for the hard cast. Obviously, we've got the
And I like that. I
Den
think
of the Bugbear.
yeah, this is definitely the situation where, if I wait an extra turn, it's not really going to cost me anything.
And there is prismatic endings in Nicolas's deck, but you can't target these Leyline's Bindings being 6 mana. There just isn't enough color in the pie chart for that to be able to be an option. 4 mana. We're just looking. I think Leyline's Bind says non-land, so we can't target it. A treasure, a 1/1 goblin token will also be made, coming along for the party. Den of the Bugbear is an old school D&D book, and that's where it comes from. A lot of that set has got a lot of flavor text when it comes to Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, when I first saw those like special versions, like those like kind of book versions, I was like, wait, is this a magic card? Am I getting pranked?
Looks like we're going to make a dwarf token and just trade with that goblin. Red and 6 gets knocked down to 1. Bring it back. Just straight. Yeah, Red and 6, get this land, put it back in my graveyard. I'm fetching.
That's so much free value from the Red and 6.
And now we've got enough to play around the Mana Tide. Even if we don't have it. And I think we're going to use
2 Mana Tides. I know there's only 1 land on tap for Nicolas, so
we're just going to let it resolve. We're going to discard the Fable. Untap. Didn't get a good look at what that was drawn, but there's definitely a Solitude still in hand. Oh, I think that might have been an Oval. Oval? Evel? I can't pronounce the name of it. Oval. The all form off the top. Definitely look like a blue card. So I think we're going to let the Archon actually attack us, let the trigger happen, and then we're going to cast that and get a copy. So Archon, attack, trigger. We're going to go back and forth a little bit of life. We're going to draw a card, discard a card, and here it is. It enters the battlefield. Let's see if I can get that one up on the old screen for you. So talk us through this one. What happens when we discard this?
So Orwell gets discarded. I think there's a trigger when that happens. So it goes to the graveyard. It triggers, and now, yeah, what cost me to discard? Oh, it was this Archon. That'd be a nice card to create a copy of.
Here we go. Get it on the screen for you all. So we do is discard sacrifice a creature or planeswalker. So we choose to get rid of the Ren and 6 here.
Okay, so now the trigger resolves. Fabian can discard a card, but before blockers, I believe there is a Fire and Ice available.
Yep.
To tap down the copy.
But we go back and forth on life here, right? So we're going to gain 3 life. Our life totals just haven't changed yet.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to go back up to 9. Leyline's
There's also binding. Yeah, Fabian's end is full of really good cards.
We still got this Solitude as well in hand, remember?
Okay.
Yep, the token's going to go with binding. Jeez, back and forth, back and forth. Solitude comes down. And this is the only Archon we've seen so far as well. Remember that the creativities have been stone-brained out of the deck.
Yeah.
Solitude deals with this. We're going to gain a little bit of life. I feel like we want to get another stone-brain down, get that target the Archon, get them out of the battlefield. Then the only real win con is going to be the Fables and potentially Ren 6 ultimates with bolts. Maybe some dwarfs coming across. So we're going to go Ren and 6 into Ren and 6, ping, ping.
Deal 1 damage, cast the other one, bin the old one, deal 1 damage again. Storm count to 70 and go.
Oh, it looks like we're in turns. Turn number 2.
Oh wow, yeah, that small dice. I almost didn't see it.
Yeah, see, well, I think the judge just put it in on 2.
Okay.
I don't think there was a dice there with the 1. So turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, turn 4, turn 5. Exactly. So we've got 2 turns each now to try and close this game down. Going to be pretty hard ask for Nicolas, I think. Also, a draw is not good for either of these players to get into the top 8. Maybe a squeeze We might be able to. We don't know exact math here. There was a lot of players this weekend. 1,054 turned up to play, and 86 managed to make it into day 2. So everything to play for. Remember, we will be live streaming the top 8 announcement. So stick around after round number 15. And here comes a Blood Moon. Is wear and tear in hand though, so not too crazy.
You can float some mana
Yeah.
in response, let the Blood Moon come into play, cast your wear and tear.
Interesting they stayed in though. I think there might even be a Strike It Rich in the graveyard. So we're going to tap down the blue source and draw a card in response. Big draw step. I think if anyone can win, it's going to be Fab.
Oh, that was...
But
Wow.
the Archon is exiled.
Was there another one discarded earlier?
I don't think so. I think we've literally only seen one. And Prismatic Ending is going to deal with the red and 6. Pass the turn back. Go to turn 3.
So Blood...
Yeah, hold on. Blood Moon is staying. Did we not have a white mana to float? Unless there is the Strike It Rich in the graveyard.
I think maybe... I don't know if there are white sources in play.
Yeah, maybe we didn't have a white source for it.
Maybe it was already tapped. Yeah, I can't really make the, make it out.
Okay.
What are the lands in play, because they're all foil and special arts, and I'm not sure which Triumph is this one.
I think he just tried to put his card on his head. He's like, sure, you can go for an Archon if you want. Turn 5, we can't win. It looks like we're going to a draw for both these players. Okay, well, that was a hell of a game. That was a very back and forth game for both. I don't think anyone managed to take that down and win. So that both these players will be advancing to 11-2-1, I believe.
I think that's still